Have you ever felt like you're doing everything to be seen, and still no one seems to care? Like you're in a crowded room, but invisible. The truth is, since we were kids, we've been taught to chase approval like it's oxygen. And when it doesn't come, we start to wonder, am I enough? But here's something no one told you. Not being validated doesn't mean you're not valuable. It might just mean it's time to stop waiting. And finally, start seeing yourself for real. Some people wake up every day with a weight on their chest they can't explain, like they're constantly trying to prove something. But no one notices. No one says a word. No one claps. It's a kind of silence that doesn't make noise, but it eats you alive. You try, you show up, you smile. But inside, you still don't feel enough. The truth? You learn to confuse love with approval, worth with likes, significance with recognition, and that holds you back. Because every step you take depends on someone else's gaze. And when that gaze never comes, something inside you shatters. But here's a question that could change everything. If no one validates you, do you disappear? Because maybe the problem was never being ignored. The problem was forgetting that the first person who needs to see you is you. At first, it hurts to realize no one cares. You ask yourself, why doesn't anyone see what I'm doing? But slowly, that pain turns into silence, and that silence becomes space. Because when no one expects anything from you, you can do anything. Fail without judgment, start without pressure, restart without shame. Other people's indifference gives you back something you didn't even know you'd lost. The chance to be real. No script, no performance. Think about it. If no one's watching, who do you want to be right now? Not to impress, not to please, just to exist your way. Because real freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's doing what matters when no one's clapping. Have you noticed how sometimes you live like you're on a stage? Every step carefully planned, every choice made out of fear of what they'll think. But here's a truth that might scare you or set you free. No one's paying as much attention to you as you think. People are too busy with their own struggles, their own insecurities, their own version of the same performance. The truth is, you don't have an audience watching you. You have people passing by, glancing for a second, and moving on. And once that clicks, everything shifts. You stop living like you're constantly being judged, and you finally breathe. Do what makes sense to you. Trade, what if they judge me, for what if I let go? Because no one's watching your life the way you think, and maybe that's the greatest gift hidden in silence. Nothing cuts deeper than being ignored after giving your all. You feel that bitter mix of frustration and bruised pride, like, how did no one see what I did? Am I not good enough? That's the moment when most people quit, but it's also the moment when a few begin. Because a wounded ego, when used right, is fuel. It burns, but it pushes. It forces you to grow the hard way, to get better, not to prove something, but to stop needing applause. You can stay on the ground, wondering why no one noticed you. Or you can get up and build something so real, so powerful, even you won't be able to ignore it. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is being underestimated. There comes a moment when you realize no one's coming. You can fall, scream in silence, give everything you have, and the world keeps spinning like nothing happened. At first it hurts, because we grow up waiting for a rescue, someone to see our pain, someone to say, I choose you. But then you wake up and realize that help isn't coming. And as harsh as it sounds, it's a good thing. Because when you stop expecting someone to save you, you stop waiting. You start moving. You build your own exits. You become your own turning point. It's not about becoming cold, it's about becoming strong. And when that shift happens, you stop being a cry for help and start becoming the answer you were looking for. There's something powerful about doing without telling, building without announcing, growing while everyone thinks you stopped. Because silence isn't the absence of action, it's the presence of focus. While others are busy trying to look like something, you're busy becoming, failing in peace, restarting without judgment, evolving without applause, and because of that, more honestly. Doing in silence is shielding yourself from the noise. It's not giving others ammunition. It's staying undistracted while sharpening your next version. Don't underestimate what grows out of sight. The strongest roots grow in the dark, and when they break through, no one understands how you got so solid, but you do. Silence was your training ground. You think people are judging you, but truth is, no one has time for that. While you're worrying about what they might think, they're too busy worrying about what people think of them. It's a loop. Everyone's stuck in their own head, dealing with their own chaos, trying to look fine, even when everything's falling apart inside. And here's the thing. You're holding back because of an audience that isn't even watching. You're freezing because of voices that only exist in your mind. Breathe. No one's paying that much attention. And once you get that, there's peace. Because you realize you can look stupid, you can fail, you can try 1,000 times, and no one will remember tomorrow. You're freer than you think. You just have to walk out of your own prison. If this content has resonated with you in any way so far, leave a like, so this message can reach others who need to hear it just like you did. If you have an experience to share, feel free to drop it in the comments or in our channel community. By sharing our journeys, we create a space of value and prosperity together. Thank you so much. Not everything needs to be shown. Not every plan needs to be announced. Sometimes the best thing you can do is disappear, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because some phases aren't meant for display. They're meant for building, for messing up, getting better, and evolving in the dark. There's power in being unknown. There's an advantage in not being noticed. While they're expecting you to quit, you're working. While they think you've stopped, you're getting ready to leap. It's not about hiding. It's about protecting the process, saving energy, and showing up only when you're ready. Strong, clear, solid. When you honor your quiet season, people won't understand how you got so far, but you will. You built it in the dark. Being ignored hurts. It feels like you've been pushed aside, like your presence doesn't matter. But what if you're reading the scene wrong? What if that silence isn't rejection? What if it's freedom in disguise? Because when no one's watching you, you don't have to please. You don't have to meet expectations. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just get to be. Some people spend their lives begging for a spot on the stage, and others discover that real power is being able to walk off it. Being ignored is painful, but being free is untouchable. The difference between the two is the meaning you choose to give it. Maybe you were never invisible. Maybe you were just free before anyone noticed. Have you ever stopped to think how much of your life has been spent trying to prove something? Prove that you're capable, that you're strong, that you're worthy. But proving is a race with no finish line. Because those who don't want to see you never will. And when you live to prove yourself, you drift away from who you really are. You start to shapeshift, to edit, to shrink, until you forget what you were trying to show in the first place. So breathe and stop. Stop trying to convince. Stop trying to impress. Stop chasing validation that deep down you don't even need anymore. Start being, slowly, truthfully, freely. Because once you are, nothing else really matters.